How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to attempt this thing at Fallen Titans. So there's like 3 gigantic Sequoia trees you've got to grab. They're actually in different locations all over the map. I didn't realise that at the time. I thought all 3 would be there. It's just south of the Paystar garage, the first one, and then you've got to take it down to the railway station and load it onto the train carts. This is the fleet I'm going to take for this one. I've pretty much got a fleet of P512 PFs. I've also got a Paystar, a couple of horses just to be safe. If anything, to be honest, the Paystar probably would have been better off with a horse because that kind of drinks fuel quicker than the PF. Yeah, so for the first one, this is the route, kind of going to go around there. Once I get to here with both crane trucks, instead of driving the long way, I'm just going to cut across onto the rail tracks and drive down. And yeah, kind of going to need a dedicated crane truck at the rail yard, and then obviously I'm going to drive a crane truck to the first site, which I thought at the time would be its permanent location. And yeah, it wasn't, but you'll see a little bit of mixing around with the editing, but it's all normal as far as you guys will see. Again, yeah, the magic of editing, it was pretty lucky. This mission ended up taking me a long while. It's not a terrible mission or anything like that. There's a few little trollish bits, but nothing too special. I was just having a bit of an unlucky night. Like, I was convinced there were certain buttons I was pressing that they weren't inputting it, and it was just messing me around a bit. This P512, sadly, at least with a crane on, it does roll fairly easily. Even I've still got the dual rears on, but there's not a hell of a lot of weight in the actual truck itself, so the crane kind of carried it over a few times. Again, I'll show you bits of it, but I edit a fair chunk of like the actual messing around out. Otherwise, this video would have been, yeah, more like an hour long. I was trying to get it down to a bit less than this, trying to get it down to more like 38-40 minutes, but it was, yeah, not having it. Unless I literally edit bits of the mission out, then there's not a lot I could do about it. And so far, I mean, at the start, it was going pretty well. These P512 trucks, I do quite like them. Like, they're clearly not the best trucks in the game without the all-wheel drive and stuff. But there is something about them I kind of like. They're not too bad. I'd probably say I prefer that Paystar out of the 3 new trucks, even after I've had a little test around with all of them. But yeah, this thing, again, I still prefer the P16 over this. For a non-all-wheel drive truck, it's just, I think that's better. However, the P16 is pretty massive. There's a few little narrow sections and stuff I've got to go through, so this was probably a better option. Plus, I can't have this crane on the P16. You can on the JVE version of the P16, but again, I'm on my first playthrough and I've not got mods on. So yeah, sneaky little shortcut there, nipping down the rail yard. So there's the 3 rail carts that you're going to have to load the logs on. You can kind of see the yellow outline in the first one. There's a red box there that you can kind of park in, but there's no point really, because yeah, you're basically going to have to manually load each log into the actual rail car, and then once it's in there, just with the crane truck that I loaded it in with next to it, you go into cargo management and then click X, and then yeah, it kind of completes that stage. I'll then show you where the next log appears on the game, and you go from there. Like I said, at first I thought all 3 logs would be over here, so after I drove this here, I went and grabbed both of the other P512s that I've got the loafs and everything loaded on, with the step deck trailers. I believe it's 5 slots that the Sequoia takes up. Pretty nice views on this bridge as well. Yeah, so again, like I say, I drove with the road train. I'm going to kind of cut that bit out and skip back to here, but you'll see in a minute, like, the road train sat there. So this thing, I probably did come in there a little bit hot. But yeah, kind of hit that bump on the inside, and as you can see though, there wasn't a whole lot of resistance to it. And because it's only got that 1 winch point in the front centre, that's what it winched to, but it's not enough leverage then on the outside tyres to stop it tipping. It could really do with another 2 winch points in each corner. So yeah, at that point when it rolled, I thought, right, I'll take this. Again, I normally, I did grab that other red P512. I just kind of restaged this bit just to do that. Pretty much, and then the footage is going to join back as normal in the next few seconds. And I did attempt to flip this truck with the winch, but I believe, particularly because I left it as well and came back, the legs of the crane have kind of glitched into the floor and I just couldn't get it tipping. So long story short, I recovered it to the garage and I drove this thing back as well. Yeah, and we kind of join again where I was, so it's all that's some of the craziness all sorted out by now anyway. As I said, in reality, behind me on that bridge, there is my other P512 and the Paystar, but you'll see me drive past them soon. In the end, I just sort of took them back to the garage and carried the footage on from there. So yeah, climbing through here, I mean, this is where, this is a bit of a narrow section. The P16 could probably wrestle its way through here, but it, again, probably struggle a little bit just because of its width. And yeah, overall, I mean, somebody said in the comment section on yesterday's video, could I do a mission with like multiple P512's? And then yeah, when I was starting this, thought, sod it. You've twisted my arm, I'll bring 4 of them. I did actually set off and test this mission just before I started all this as well. I brought Bruce with a crane and the Taiga with just a normal, what's it called, a sideboard semi-trailer, just to see if the log, like, what happens to that. Because basically, it's definitely not going to fit in the medium logging trailer. It doesn't work with the long logging trailer, but I have got the long logging trailer on my Paystar anyway, just because I was curious. I kind of knew what would happen if not. Basically, I just can't pack it, but I could kind of sit it in the long log trailer cradle situation and do it that way. I just kind of wanted to do it for my own, curiosity. But for the most part, as I said, I brought these step decks. And yeah, I mean, I could have made the whole thing a little bit shorter with, as I say, bringing the sideboard semi-trailer. So they do fit on that. I don't, again, think it'd fit on the ramped flatbed because that's only 4 slots. I personally wouldn't risk it. And the nice thing with this step deck trailer, though, like I said, even when you get it caught and stuff, it kind of has just long metal rails running under the trailer that act pretty good like skis. So for the most part, it doesn't get hooked anywhere. And again, yeah, you get this little like free platform at the front which you can pop a loaf on, so that's some spares and repairs and an extra winch and everything just in case. Which, like I said, overall this thing doesn't nail the fuel too bad. It's not got the biggest fuel tank though, so, but yeah, I don't know, overall it's probably not amazing on fuel, to be fair, given the size of the tank, but relative to the Paystar, it's felt pretty good. That's what she said. It's definitely handled it tonight better than the Paystar. So I got stuck on a giant rock there. Fortunately, I just kind of reversed and drove again, made it go between the axles, and it actually got its way through. And you can see this section here is a little bit of an awkward beast. Possibly not the best truck choice because it's not got the all drive. That's kind of struggling now to claw its way up the front and everything. Yeah, I just changed to daytime. Kind of got it jiggled around a bit, drove a little bit further forward. In the end, I just changed to this thing, and I used the crane on this to kind of hoist the trailer over, because what I wasn't sure, the logs actually do sit, like, even though it's a round log, it doesn't roll off the trailer easy as anything. It must have like an invisible hit box where it's like a bit more squared off at the bottom. But yeah, you could see my trailer was leaning a bit there, so I just used that to flick it over to the side. Again, maybe the semi sideboard trailer thing would be a good option because it has got the sideboards on it. Funny enough now as well, I was thinking, I wonder if it'll do this, but because I've basically just 360'd my crane, after I pick this log up now, it won't let me move it, like carrying on, essentially doing another 180 with the crane. So it's kind of locked me in place. I'm now going to have to go, instead of going over like the shallower rocks, I've got to bring it around this way, which is yeah, a bit of a pain. It does it with the what do you call it, the mini crane as well. And to be honest, maybe it does it in normal cranes in real life, but I've had a little go on mini diggers and stuff, and I've definitely been around plenty of mini diggers. I used to do landscape gardening, and that often my brother would drive it though, just because he was like more used to them than me. But yeah, I'm pretty sure like you can rotate them round. You don't have to keep like unwinding it each time to get it back. Well, unless that's just me, who knows? Maybe I took it back to the company like, here you go. And they're like, God damn it, there's another one that hasn't unwound it. So, yeah, finally get the log on. It's not too bad. I mean, you, again as well, the logging crane, you can't grab the tree, so you need a proper crane like that, where you can just do the winch point to the log, which, well, it's a pretty massive log. The jaws of the logging crane just aren't big enough. It wasn't quite far enough on the trailer, so I gave it a little nudge with the crane, packed it, for whatever reason while I'm messing around, even though the loaf was packed, it started moving around. But he is a goddamn professional, so used his winch. I got him sitting behind the truck for now, so now we've got to try and get this thing out of it. And yeah, like I said, still at this point, I still assumed I'd have to bring all 3 trucks down here and do this same little pathway. At least there was kind of a way in and a way out, but as I said, there'd certainly be better trucks than all-wheel drive truck. The Dolphin probably would do pretty well here. The Tayga wasn't too bad at getting the log back out. I didn't actually go back out this way when I did the test with the Tayga. I kind of did a U-turn and went back out the way I came in. But yeah, once we low range diffs on, it was going alright. It's the rocks really that I'm catching on that are probably, I think they're getting hooked on the chassis and they're really not helping the situation. Had to fling out a winch in the end of there again for some reason unbeknownst to me. I think actually the wheels were kind of catching the loaf wheels and flicked it up, flicked the front end off, but they're not giving up that easily. Stick a winch on the middle, flick his front wheels up. He can still start his engine. Job's a good one. Goddamn professional. He's getting back on that trailer. Certainly don't leave a loaf behind if you can help it. He's on. Get him packed and we're ready to go. So this is, well, kind of half of the first thing done. We've only got to drive it to the railway station now, which is not too bad. One thing I'm not too keen on as well with the P512, its turning radius isn't amazing. I mean, particularly because it hasn't got any drive going to the front wheels. Again, when you turn full lock, they're not actually applying power and pulling your nose round, so they're relying on the back pushing and they just kind of grip in on an angle and slowly, yeah, turn the front end of your truck. But on top of that, its steering is pretty slow to react anyway, so it's yeah, you certainly have to be a bit early with the steering. There's a few times, well, you can see just like there for example, I think there's a tiny little glitch, but there's no way it was going to make the corner in one. And even worse at the minute, because they've messed up the reverse gear where it's really slow to drop into it. It's like just trying to stick it in reverse to adjust and do a 3-point turn takes even longer. Again, you can see my truck's there. That's what I originally had brought along, which it was a complete waste of time. That's why I'm stopping this truck now, or initially, because I thought, oh, I'll go in with the red P512, sorry, get another log, and then I'll have like a big log train go into the rail yard. So again, I thought this mission, like, I thought, oh, we'll do this in no time. And yeah, slightly wrong. To be fair, they're not ridiculous locations for the other logs. I mean, they're not the easiest, but they probably could have tried making it even worse on top of that, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, there's a nice little bit of motoring along with the P512, and once you can get it in the high range, it was ticking along pretty nicely. Fortunately, a good chunk of this map is just pretty relaxed. They're dirt roads or paved roads, and they're not insanely ruthless. Look, there's something floating in the water, but I couldn't help but keep looking at it. I'm far too nosy to not need to know what that is, so at some point very soon I will be going into that water and finding out what is floating in the water. What if it was like a free loaf or something? It's the kind of things I need to know. Yeah, I probably need a free loaf at this rate, and he took the back end of him off. He's all good, he's a professional, he handled it well. Yeah, for this one I'm actually, again, because I thought I'd be doing 3 repeats of this journey, I actually went the proper way, steering again, couldn't even make that corner, I had to do a 3-pointer. Yeah, what I probably could have done is just nipped over the road, sort of where I knocked the arse end of the loaf on that post, skipped over to the rail tracks, and kind of cut through that way. Just after that bridge I went over, there is a left turn into like the forest, and I didn't take it. I only kind of seen it when it was too late, and again I didn't even want to try and stop this thing and 3-point turn it. But yeah, that kind of is like a little shorter section over to the rail yard. I ended up using it in a bit. It kind of works out as a nice little a pathway for the last log. And already I was trying to go a bit wide. I think what I was trying to do now, I'm sure, yeah, I was trying to fling a winch out from the front or the middle of the P512 and kind of swing it round on the post just to help me make a bit of a tighter corner, but it wasn't. I don't even know where the winch point was coming from. It might have been doing the back of the trailer or something. And that's where that road pops out, just to like my left now. So yeah, it's a little bit shorter, little road that's worth using. It's not too bad down there either. There is a bit of boggy section, but I motored along in one of these in high range, and the fact that this isn't all-wheel drive. And that's what I mean. This would be a bloody good truck if it was all-wheel drive, because it's already been balanced with non-all-wheel drive in mind, so it's kind of, you know, does well for what it is, but it still struggles a bit overall in the game. If they ever decide to add an all-wheel drive add-on for it, it'd probably end up a little bit like the twin steer and the GMC 9500, where they probably won't then rebalance it to take into account that it's now got all-wheel drive, and it'll probably end up as a pretty solid beast. Yeah, so there you go. Like, unpack the Sequoia off the trailer, manually load it. It then offers me cargo management. Toot my horn. That's 1 out of 3 done. And yeah, at this point I was looking at the map, obviously thinking where's my next one here, but the log isn't there. So I recovered this truck, drove it out. By this point as well, I'd got my Paystar and P512 back to the garage. And yeah, the next log is in this bottom corner, so I'm going to kind of drive down to the south bridge, cut up through these trees. There is a little pathway, as you can kind of see. The line's kind of blocking my pathway, but it is there. And well, the last little bit, we're kind of going to have to invent our own pathway. You'll see what I mean. It's, I assume, kind of supposed to be done, because they're all killable trees, so yeah, they weren't cruel with it and like scattered stumps or something throughout there. I got caught on stumps the other day doing something else, and again, they're just a complete pain in the ass. They hide them in like bushes and grass, so you're suddenly driving along and you just smash into one, and then you realise like, oh, there's a stump which has now gone under my first axle and is kind of locked between the two axles. I don't know, it's just, yeah, stump guy and rock guy. We need to, I don't know, give them an extended vacation and just tell them to relax. So I was going to, another little road train situation, yeah, because I'm going to have to go to a new location every time. I've got to kind of take the truck that's going to carry the log and the a crane truck that can actually lift it. And again, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the log wouldn't fit on a 4-slot ramped flatbed, because I was going to say, in theory, you could possibly take one truck and then winch a trailer behind you, but like I said, I just don't think it's going to fit, because even on the step deck, it was very close to the back of the step deck. It was certainly near enough to the front of the step deck as well, so... And, well, obviously, on this one, I've just kind of changed my plans a little bit, and... yeah, I'm bringing this large log carrier, which I already knew by this point from a bit of testing earlier, that you can't pack the log on this, but like I said, as they're both kind of cradles, if I can just drop the log and kind of wedge it in them, it should work pretty well. All it'll mean is I just can't pack the cargo, which in theory, actually, I never really thought about it for this reason, but then it probably won't add any weight to this Paystar either. It'll just be, I don't know, unpacked cargo tends to be pretty light. I think all cargo, when you just like lifting it with a crane, doesn't really have a hell of a lot of weight to it. It's only once you pack it, it kind of adds the weight in. It's probably because the trucks on this game are all fairly tippable. They probably did it just so, like, when you are actually craning materials, it's not, you're not trying to tip every 2 minutes, because otherwise they'd have to make every truck less tippy, and then I assume they don't want to do that because it'd sort of technically make it easier. Yeah, again, I don't even really know. I mean, I was going uphill, I was only in high gear, I think, but it tipped. I mean, it probably, yeah, cut the corner, hit that bump. Either way, it's gone, so I was like, oh no, here we go again. Fortunately, it didn't really take that long to rescue the situation. Yeah, drive forward, just detach my trailer just to leave that thing there. Fortunately, I thought the way things were going tonight, I'm surprised that trailer didn't just start rolling off down the hill and go cartwheeling off into the forest or something. Someone was saying earlier, I think it was Thingboy69, was saying that those logging trailers are 14 grand, which I haven't even looked, to be honest, but that's pretty goddamn expensive. It's someone else was saying they might have done it to, now we've got the option to actually delete trailers, they might have made them pretty expensive to kind of, yeah, negate everyone doing that, which to a degree, I mean, even on this mission I ended up making, I think, 18 odd grand. If I had to delete a 14 grand trailer, that's most of it gone. But even sort of yesterday's mission and all sort, I've only been making 12, 13, 15 grandish, so yeah, you'd soon lose all the money you're making really if you start deleting them. So far on this map I have been pretty good, if I do say so myself. I've not actually deleted any trailers yet. I've recovered nearly every trailer. On the first map I've got a prototype radar trailer at one of the fuel stations. On this map I think everything's all cleared away. So yeah, we got the thing flipped. Like I said, fortunately it wasn't too bad to flip back. The crane legs or anything weren't glitched into the floor, which I think because I remained in the area and just did the recovery there and then. Like I said, the first one, when I first tipped it, I was winching it, like it just was not going. It was like it was locked into the floor, and I could click restore crane, but because it was already on its side, that was making the legs invisible and glitch through the floor anyway. And yeah, nearly regrets at this point. Tried to fling a winch out to again kind of tighten up my turning circle, but instead of doing that, it just tried to tip me over. Fortunately, it's not quite there. And you can see this thing does nail through the fuel really, because it's already used, probably getting on for a third, and I've only really driven it from the garage to here, and a quick little rescue mission, but yeah. See, along here though, even in auto it was doing alright there. I went down to low range with the diff salt. It was just like, there's no point, it restricts so much of your revs. I mean, you can hear the difference. And even though there's more wheel spin now, because I've not got the diffs on, I'm at least still going a bit faster. Because there's, yeah, there is more revs there. And even on the medium low these days, I'm not sure if they've toned the rev caps on that, or rather made them more harsh, because again, I think they've tweaked a few things to try and make their fine-tuned gearbox kind of fit within what it is they want it to achieve and make it like a decent gearbox worth considering. But again, they should have just made that gearbox a bit better instead of making everything else a bit worse to kind of not overshadow it. But yeah, I don't know, I'm not too keen. I mean, you can hear the lack of revs in the engine whenever you go into the low rate, even if you do get the fine tune and you're in high-low. So I just drove that thing there. Yeah, this was the last little section, smashing through them trees, which was pretty fun. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's kind of the way you're supposed to go, because every tree was killable, and on the map it looks like there is a pathway down there. So, I mean, again, this mud is a little bit slow down here, but it's not insane. I'm not going like 1 mile an hour, so I'm kind of, I can live with that. I don't mind. I still find it a bit odd that you can just poach half-built wooden houses and stuff and nick the wood. I mean, as and when they become convenient, I'm certainly not complaining, but it's a bit of an odd choice, really. Yeah, you can see it's a big old piece of wood. Yeah, don't know what she said. So I was just moving my crane thing out of the way. That again, I shouldn't have brought the crane really. I just brought it for the sakes of looks. Well, I actually did try lifting one of these logs, but yeah, I cut the footage out. One, because this video was going pretty long anyway. But as I said, the grabber arms just ain't even close to getting around it. So the jaws shut, and that's it. There ain't no Sequoia log sat in them. So it was a nice little easy one to load that one. Sure, now I get stuck, and yeah, I think it's just one of those trees on the floor. It's a bit weird, like, I don't mind some of these tree carcasses lying around, but there's a few times where they kind of block your way and you hit them, and then there's no chance of getting over them, and then after you give them a little nudge, they kind of disappear, you know, become transparent or whatever and fall through the floor. and then they offer 0 resistance. It's a bit weird. You think it'd make more sense to just make them less insane in the first place and give you a chance of actually driving over it. But I don't know. You kind of bump into them, realise you can't make it, and then it just gives you a free pass and the log vanishes. So yeah, you can see what I've done, just kind of wedged it in the long log cradle. And again, I mean, in theory you probably could use the medium log trailer, but you certainly wouldn't be able to pack it. You might be able to just, oh no, I don't know actually, because I think that might have a back end and everything on it. So if you did, you might have to, it might be sticking out the top. Yeah, I don't know if that would be such a good idea. To be fair, I'm not saying this is particularly the best idea. You're probably best just sticking to the normal stuff like the sideboard semi or the step deck or the flatbed semi trailer. Certainly wouldn't be bringing an 8 slot for it, I know that. And yeah, it's not too happy about getting up here. You can see a nice little road that I've pretty much just invented by myself there. There's a nice little trail down through it, if I do say so myself. Don't know what's happening now. Power's just, that's it. It's decided, nope. Power's all gone. Winch to a tree or something. Pulled me loose and then we get going again. Like I said, that's never really been an issue before. It seems to be something else that's slightly changed since the last update. It's not the end of the world. You can generally fling a winch out and get it started again, but yeah. Doesn't exactly fill you with confidence when your truck hasn't even got enough power to move a wheel. Not even wheel spin it. So I just drew a little line back. I'm near enough going back the way I came, but I'm just going to take a slightly different, less wiggly route back out to the main road, and then yeah, send this log on its way as well. See there, I was low range with the diffs on. Going into water, you can just hear the revs shoot up again, and it just feels like the truck's putting more effort in. And like I said, I mean, those low range, is it truly a low range gear, or is it just a rev cap for first gear, but it allows you to put the diffs on? Like, I don't know. I think these days it behaves more like just a rev cap than its own gear. I think you might get like a little grip bonus or something, but again, it's so restricted on the revs that what you gain in diffs and a grip bonus, you kind of lose in not being allowed a chunk of your engine. You can see when I was going around that corner, for some reason the log just decided to jump off the trailer, which was most enjoyable for me. So yeah, I cut it out, but I sent the crane in, craned it back on there, and it actually fell off again, so I craned it on again. But yeah, the magic of editing, we sorted that out. That's why when I got to here, I got to save the footage again. Yeah, that done, and we're off on the home straight. And now, next thing, look at the fuel. That's what I'm saying. This thing could probably do with a loaf more than the P512. So I had two choices now. I was like, I could stop, drive that crane vehicle near it again, and transfer a bit of fuel over. But yeah, I decided to stick it in high, drop the hammer, keep it pinned, fingers crossed, and we'll see if we can wing our way to the railway station. Luckily, there's not too far to go, so I kind of had a feeling we might be alright. It's not going too bad on the fuel now, but you'll see when we start clawing up this hill, yeah, the fuel usage shoots up to, I think, mid-20s or so. It's funny how it drinks so much fuel for, considering it's not a very big truck, really. Like I said, when you park it next to the twin steer, you suddenly realise how much smaller it is. It's like a scaled down version. But the engine isn't. Right, thirsty beast. Not that I'm complaining. Fuel is free on this game, so you can be as thirsty as they like. If only it was like that in real life. I can't remember, I heard of a country a few months ago, somewhere in the Middle East I think, where fuel is free. It's like, god damn it, sign me up. So just going to move me, I think it glitches up there, it's a precise bit, but... Or does it? Oh no, it doesn't on that. Move me little crane arm out of the way anyway, so make it easier getting this log off. I think that was a little glitch there, pretty convenient. And again, just as I rotate this over, I've obviously got to kind of spin it 180 degrees to get it round my crane arm. And yeah, I just cut that out because the world's slowest rotation on this, it's like a degree a second or something. Took 2 attempts, but we got it in there. Again, cargo management, stage 2, done. Place this for the next one. I've even put cabin protectors on some of these. They sit pretty flush and they kind of suit it on this truck. Again, on a lot of the trucks, it just sits in. I don't know. It doesn't look right. I'm sure in real life you'd want one to stop a potential logs come flying through the back of your cabin, but again, that's not my problem. Not when it doesn't look right, anyway. So yeah, this is the third log in the bottom corner, kind of over where the one of the watchtowers are. That fuel storage in the bottom corner. That kind of area. There's an upgrade down in that section as well. I just kind of drew a line. There's loads of little alleyways and work through the trees, so yeah. You could just, I mean, you just look at it and you kind of invent your own way as you go, really. I was just checking there how much, so there's a mission I've got to build 6 rail tracks, and what does it need? I think it was 4 planks, and is it 2 metal beams per rail, so that's going to take some serious, maybe even save that one for a live stream. But it's funny though, because I mean, again, look, this thing rolls. Admittedly, it's a bit of a beastie hill, but I tried to fling a winch out. Same problem though, it winched from the front, there's not enough leverage from the front centre, and it tipped. I did for a second give it a go with this, but it wasn't having it, so I was like, nope. That's enough of that. I don't know why my loaf slid back a bit, even though it's packed. It keeps moving around every now and then, which they never used to do either. It's kind of only been doing that since this last update. Leave my trailer across the train tracks, like a goddamn professional. Let them trains know. Let them know the real pecking order. I'm sure they'd soon remind me of it when they smash my trailer in half. So yeah, again, in the end, it was easy just to recover that crane truck, since I was literally down the road from the garage. And yeah, just drive it back. Do it the easy way. By this point, the game had been trolling me probably even more than you've seen in this footage. So again, the patience levels start to drop, and the need to just stick it in high and drop the hammer rises, and then things like this happen, like nearly give me loaf whiplash. I'm assuming that crane truck kind of swept on the inside, clipped the tree, and yeah, that's the tree, you can see. Went wider this time, give it a second attempt. Be a bit more careful. Thought, alright, good, we'll pass that. I believe at that point I turned the game off and just let it reload. I could have done a rescue with the crane truck, it was just more the principle of it, as like, have my own little shortcuts game. I'll soon find my way around the situation. Yep, this thing couldn't even make that corner. I might have turned a tad late, but you could see while I was turning it just understeered. And yeah, I mean, really, it's, again, it doesn't put up a whole lot of resistance to tip in. And this time we did actually do a bit more of an actual rescue. Get my loaf back on there just in case. And now, I mean, even with these dirt roads, you'll see it's building up the speed. I'm already into high range, so yeah, that's where, like, this truck, I certainly prefer it in the high range than the fine tune, but in the high range it's just, there's plenty of power there, it feels pretty decent, even on these kind of roads. Again, for a non-all-wheel drive it does well. There, I swear to you, I was turning right for a lot longer than the game made it look like I just didn't even attempt it. I was genuinely turning and not a single thing happened. So fortunately, save the footage, reload the game, ended up reloading like kind of just up the road, and we'll drive there again. So, I don't even think this video would have took probably way longer than an hour if I left all of it in, which I can't edit for longer than an hour, so that'll be that. And yeah, that's what I was sort of saying with the live streams, is it's nice to get a few different missions done. I could end up having a mission like this though, where everything just goes wrong, and yeah, I probably spent getting on for 2 hours. Tried to kill that tree. I think the one I hit obviously wasn't killable. That one, I believe, is, but I kind of deflected off that and it had a sneaky unkillable tree sat right behind it, so yeah, I learnt my lesson on that. I backfired a little bit. Yeah, I could end up having a mission like this where everything just goes mad, and it'll end up being like the whole live stream just trying to fight off the need to just break down. and send in the dolphin or something. That's what I should have done. Well, to be fair, these trucks, they're not too bad. They were nice for what they are, but again, little bits like this, it was struggling just to reverse off there, because... And then now I'm driving forward, even though my front wheel's turned, it's just going forward because it's not offering any power to it to bite its way back up onto that ledge. Fortunately, there was like a little log sticking out in the middle that allowed the tyre to bump up. That thing isn't following me properly, so that's not going to get over there without flying into the ditch. It's definitely a good looking truck. I do like the look of it, like a bit of an old school square kind of looking truck. Not that some of these new ones, they're alright with the more smoother, sleeker looks, but yeah, I don't know, I suppose when I was growing up as a kid, yeah, a lot of films and all that sort of stuff had these kind of aged looking trucks. Yeah, got to this point, there's a upgrade right there next to me. I've already got it, but where the car is, yeah, there's a big fat hill here for no reason. And normally I wouldn't recommend such a thing, but yeah, today we're going for it. Didn't go too well for whatever reason. The P512 has decided to try and enter me from behind. They're trying to smell what I had for dinner 2 days ago or something. That is personal information on a need-to-know basis. But yeah, fortunately it did actually go well. I was thinking, no, look, everything will tip as I try and go down there, but it didn't. And this thing, for the most part, is wrestling its way through. You see that log thing there I just drove past? It's got 2 big logs on it, and you need 3 in total. And that doesn't show up on the map as a logging station, but you would be able to grab those 2 logs. There's also 1 log on its own near the train that you've got to pull, like the weightlifting mission in this game. So yeah, I don't know why, but there appears to be some random unmarked locations with just 1 or 2 logs sat in them. So maybe one day I'll poach them, I don't know, they are kind of in the arse end of nowhere, so yeah, maybe not actually. Then again, the only 1 log station on this map is kind of in the middle of nowhere, and if I'm not mistaken, the only log station on this map might even have limited logs. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that is the case, which is weird. Obviously, what's it called, Black Badger Lake, that's got 5 or 6 log station locations, but only 1 of them is like unlimited. And again, see, I already knew it was going to tip. Tried to fling a winch out. It did the front winch again, not enough leverage, and she's gone. Looking at the log like, god damn it. The Sequoia, that'll annoy ya. Yeah, we got it to rhyme. I mean, again, drop it in a high range. That's where I was like, well, this thing's doing alright. I can't really complain. Not sure if the boar would have been having as much of a good time. That's part of the reason I didn't bring a boar in the end, is just because it is a pretty massive truck. And yeah, a lot of these sort of awkward narrow spaces, it'd just be a bit of a pain in the arse. And the thing is a bit too fat and heavy for its own good, so it probably would have drove me mad. But then again, the game decided tonight was not my night. Fortunately, it wasn't too bad to flip. Save me thank yous. Bit of manners, and yeah, let's get this log on the trailer and get out of there. I didn't want to go all the way down the hill, but I was trying to get enough out the way of the kind of road just behind me, because I know I'm going to have to bring this truck round and kind of level it up in a minute. I was first seeing though if here was even enough to reach the log, and it was, which was nice. So I got it up out of here, kind of dropped it next to me, because I thought then, I was amazed it didn't just slide all the way back down with the way things were going. But yeah, drive this forward, get it all well, lined up a little bit better anyway. I would have liked the trailer a little bit more rotated around, and I decided, you know what, I am going to. Got the tools at my disposal. Not only did it help level the trailer out a bit, it also kind of made it a bit more flush with my truck. And again, just a quick edit here to save 20 seconds of rotating my log. You see what I mean? When I dropped it there, even though it's kind of pretty close to the edge of that trailer, it has a more flattened hitbox at the bottom, so it sit there pretty nicely. So it said impossible to pack, So I was like, fair enough, moved a few things around, changed back to it. I was supposed to click pack loaf, pack log, like what? Log? Where have you gone, log? Like, oh no. 'Cause this was my last log. The saving cogs were on as well. I was like, oh, double no. Fortunately, I quit the game pretty quick, fast, and in a hurry. Loaded it back up, and my log was back on the trailer, which is lucky because if I just got unlucky then and it saved at the wrong moment and that log was gone, I think I might have even had to restart the whole mission. For a second there, I was even thinking I might have to abandon doing this as a video tonight because there's no way I'm restarting the whole thing again now. That's again part of the reason why this video is going to be a little bit late getting uploaded, but yeah, I thought I might just go and have to do like a little mission, do a little truck recovery or something and save this for another day. But yeah, fortunately the old trick of quitting the game before it's saved again, where you've seen the saving cogs, it must have started saving a second or two before I clicked pack log and then it vanished. Yeah, so when I loaded it back up I was right there at the same place. And then that time I made damn sure I got my, I don't know if it was the fact that the loaf was on the trailer. I've had it happen before where I've clicked pack stuff and it just vanishes, but most of the time it's not like a unique log that I can't get anywhere else, so yeah, it's definitely not what I wanted to see on this one, certainly not on the last log. And now I did draw a line going back out of here, but I kind of ended up going straight ahead of me. It looked like there wasn't a bridge, so I drew another little line, but then when I could see back on, yeah, there was a little bridge going across like the two little ruts, and now there was a watchtower I just drove past. I'm kind of following out the way I did when I first explored the map, so I kind of knew this route a little bit better. Knock that fence out of the way, and yeah, by this point, alright, let's just drop the hammer, try and get this thing done, because even though we're only about 40 minutes in now, yeah, for me it was probably more like 2 hours and 40 minutes, somewhere around there, for a mission I really thought would take me like an hour tops. And as you can see again though, this is where I think this truck's doing pretty nicely, certainly with the high range gearbox, plenty of revs, got it in the high range, or high gear, sorry, and it's hauling along pretty nicely. It's not really getting held up by any of the mud. Not too much wheel spinning going on, still a little bit of understeer, but that's the nature of a truck with no power at the front. Particularly, like I said, it's a fairly long truck. It's the shorter wheelbase stuff probably doesn't suffer as bad if it's not got drive at the front, but trying to get these wheels turned when you're pushing all the way from the other end of the truck, it does tend to understeer. So instead I could have followed that road down and kind of popped out back at the like the rail crossings where I parked my trailer on, but instead just cut off to the right down this lane, and this will end up popping out at the road just past the bridge, which is then connects to that road I said earlier where you can kind of cut through the forest, and it's a little bit of a shortcut to the rail yard. And you can see, even though it's definitely a boggy road, there's some muddy patches and all the rest of it, this thing's in high range, squeezing that throttle, and it's motoring down here pretty well, trying to be a little bit careful, just don't want to roll it. With this setup, it's not too dangerous for rolling. It was more when I had the ones with the big crane on it. There was enough weight high up that it just kind of takes it with it. Yeah, this is, I mean, like, this log's in the way, absolutely stops me like Gandalf, but then it just, that's it. It suddenly decides that I'm allowed to pass, and it disappears, so yeah, I won't say no at this point. So even through that muddy section, still in the high range, pretty happy with that. Had to have a little look around, that's how happy I was. Might even be a possible thumbnail, who knows. I'll have a look through in a minute, see which picture I enjoy the most. And yeah, this is where you pop out, right at the rail yard. And thankfully, that was a little glitch there, apologies for that. The the last delivery part of the mission went smoothly without a hitch. Probably about the only bit that did. Did I just beat my horn and scare the shit out of that trailer then? That is great. Again, why is it offering me winch points right down there? This game sometimes. It's like it knows how to do the the opposite of what would be logically available. Oh, like a glove, slips right in there. That's certainly what she said. And yeah, thankfully, that is the mission in the bag. Cargo management, pop it in and we're done. Yeah, 2,300 XP, which is nice, but completely useless because I've been level 30 for about half a year. 18.5 odd grand, which I certainly won't say no to. Don't want to burn it by deleting the trailers, but yeah, that's about it for today though. I hope you've enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, thanks to our Patreon members, and I'll be back soon.